As it's Friday, we have a rather fun video lined up for you. You guys will know, if you're regular followers of the channel, that we've been highlighting XRP a lot recently, given the technical potential that it has. And actually, I believe the last video that we did on XRP, we actually looked at a guy from the German stock exchange, a kind of senior analyst who was very much predicting the same thing that we are, and that is a repeat, not to the same percentages, but certainly impressive, of 2017's pump. We've been setting up in a very similar fashion, and that's why, the sole reason predominantly, we've been highlighting XRP at the time we have. We haven't been covering XRP since 2017. We've done the odd video here and there, but as we see, technically, every reason to be bullish on XRP. It's time to start diving down that rabbit hole, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video. We're going to be starting off with the chief of the BIS actually talking about reimagining the new financial system, and he calls it the Finternet. Now, I wonder where he got that from, and I believe XRP is going to play a role in that. Not only has XRP been mentioned in a number of reports from the Bank of International Settlements themselves, we're going to be looking at one of them. They also have partnered with them in regards to cross-border payments. Then we're going to be diving over to a clip that was from a while ago of Brad Garlinghouse actually talking about the future and the kind of standardization of this internet to enable the internet of value, the Finternet, which is what Augustus Carlson is talking about. And then we're going to be diving over to a clip of David Schwartz, and then we will be wrapping the video up by taking a look at some of the banks that Ripple are already working with. Now, we've done quite a lot of videos talking about Ripple's stablecoin, Real USD, and how I believe that is going to benefit the United States, and ultimately Ripple is going to become a unicorn stock for the United States, just like we see Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and many of the others becoming those, or being enabled by the US to become unicorn stocks, so that they can further the United States' agenda as a digital leader, also a financial leader, and that's where Ripple is going to come into play. They are going to IPO, in my opinion. The lawsuit is looking like it's going to pretty much definitely come to a conclusion by the time summer is finished. And ultimately, it's a case of hanging in there and waiting and watching and being patient for what we're looking to play out technically actually playing out. So, the first clip, of course, as promised, that I have for you is of the Bank of International Settlements chief talking about reimagining the financial systems and the Finternet as he is envisioning it.
It is hard to see how useful financial innovation can really move forward. We have labeled our vision for the future financial system the Finternet. I will leave it to Nandan to expand on it and explain the more technical aspects. But let me provide a broad overview. The Finternet is a vision of multiple financial ecosystems that connect with each other, much like the internet. It aims to empower individuals and businesses by placing them at the center of their financial lives. The application of technology has meant that tasks that were once expensive and time-consuming, like making an overseas phone call or booking an hotel room in an unfamiliar city, can now be done with the flick of a finger.
Now, I want to leave that there, but what an interesting clip. He talks about how he's empowering individuals and companies out there, not governments specifically, to actually enable this Finternet. He also talks about the idea of cross-border payments, which of course we know Ripple is already partnered with the BIS to facilitate. There is no way in my mind, ladies and gentlemen, that he is talking about anything but distributed ledger technology. And we've continued to say this, and actually the lawsuit, once it comes to a conclusion, will put Ripple and XRP in a very good spot. And I think the interesting thing about this lawsuit coming to a head is also technically we're looking at a real tightening and ultimately a expansion in volatility from the current prices that it's at. It's doing a very similar thing to what we saw leading to 2017, and it's at a similar kind of point in regards to what's about to come. You don't have to wait too much longer, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, but you know, in regards to exact dates, not something that we can give. I want to take us over now to a report that was published by the Bank of International Settlements, where they actually mention not just Ripple but XRP by name. And I'll read the short paragraph. It says, 3 modules arise. A private settlement asset and marketplace such as Ripple's XRP, an open source marketplace such as the Stellar Foundations or recently DeFi networks, and a marketplace and settlement asset based on unbacked crypto assets such as Strike, which leverages Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. However, a public solution potentially run by a regulated private entity has key advantages such as tackling the coordination problems around centralizing participants and liquidity provision, offering clear and trusted governance and operational stability, and providing full capability with financial integrity standards. So they're highlighting essentially the first one, a private settlement layer, as the preferred method. And of course, they mention Ripple and XRP by name there. We know also Ripple joined the BIS Cross-Border Payments Task Force. I truly believe, and I've said this on a number of previous videos now, I truly believe that XRP is going to play a vital role in tomorrow's financial system. And I think the charts are pointing that out. We're going to see that turning on, if you will. I think there's going to be a stablecoin element in there. And Brad Garlinghouse previously said all CBDCs are our stablecoins. And we actually see actions being taken through Congress to not allow the government or a central bank to do that. Well, the question is, well, who then enables it? Who's best positioned? It's going to be Ripple. Very, very exciting future that we have ahead of us. Let's now dive over to a clip of Brad Garlinghouse essentially talking about XRP and this idea of the internet of value, the Finternet as Augustus calls it. And then we'll move on to a clip of David Schwartz.
Because it requires capital to get it there. Our view in the future is you don't have to have this pre-funding, and instead you can use a digital asset to have global liquidity on demand. Now, we build upon a tech stack, an open source technology called XRP. XRP originally was built by some engineers who had seen some of the flaws of Bitcoin and the challenges of scalability around Bitcoin, where Bitcoin today, on a per transaction basis, it's rather slow and rather expensive. XRP is very, very fast, about 1,000 times faster per transaction and 1,000 times cheaper per transaction. The other dynamic, of course, of correspondent banking is some of the more quote-unquote exotic currencies, exotic corridors have been left to kind of stand on their own. And the liquidity in digital assets could be applied to actually make that much more democratized and a level playing field. Ripple's vision from the beginning really has been to apply these technologies in the same way that TCP/IP and HTTP are the technologies underpinning the Internet of Information. These blockchain technologies will be the underpinnings of an Internet of Value, where we have connected devices, we have connected information that will allow payments to flow. And as Norman was describing, if you're a large corporation moving $100 million, that's one thing. If you're a freelancer working in the Philippines doing design work for a company in London and you want to get paid $30 or 30 pesos, Philippine pesos, if that's not a transaction that can easily be enabled. And in fact, for the companies that enable that, they require the freelancer to set up an account, and they don't actually pay it out until there's roughly 1,000 USD sitting in that account, and then they would pay it out.
Tell me that isn't the Finternet that the head of the BIS is talking about. And that was a speech that Brad Garlinghouse gave to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and of course the Swiss National Bank. Let's take a quick look at some of the banks that XRP and Ripple are already working with. So we'll dive over here, ladies and gentlemen. So these are a list of the banks you can see here that XRP or Ripple is currently working with. Brad has also mentioned that he's been working with a number of governments. The dots are connecting, guys, when it comes to Ripple. And the most important thing for me in relation to XRP is technically what's setting up on the chart. We have every reason to expect what took place in 2017 to take place again. Is it guaranteed? Absolutely not. Nothing I say or do on this channel is financial advice, but we're setting up in a very similar fashion. Even a guy from a well-respected guy from the German Stock Exchange said a similar thing. Do go and watch our last video. And there's going to be fundamental reasoning behind that. And I think XRP playing a underlying role in the Finternet, the Internet of Value, is going to be what sees it doing that, and the realization of it, and of course the settlements with the lawsuits, the promotion of stablecoins to further the role of the US dollar globally and to kind of solve a little bit of its debt problems. We've gone down so many rabbit holes. Let's play this last little clip now of David Schwartz talking about how the world's going to change if the cost of payments goes to zero.
Happen no matter what. That is a given. We had a revolution in the physical delivery of goods with the shipping container, which changed globalization, started globalization. We had a revolution in the delivery of information with the internet. But what we don't know is what is the TCP/IP of money? What is the shipping container of value? We don't know that yet. There's going to be one, though. That is a definite. And that's going to bring changes. And what I also want to get through is that one of those changes that I foresee and that I think is important is that the size of payments are going to shrink, drastically shrink. Many of you people here probably have a job and you probably get paid twice a month or every 2 weeks. Well, why is that? You probably pay bills once a month. Well, why is that? It's because payments are expensive and clunky. But if payments were cheap and simple, then those frequencies could go up. Money could be streamed at you while you're working. You could stream money to your landlord to pay for the place where you're staying. Now, I know those sound dumb, and I'll be blunt. Yeah, they are. And I'll tell you, like, if we were talking about email in the late 90s and you said to me, like, what are people going to use email for? I probably could not have given you the examples that is on everyone probably here, probably has a cell phone, probably has email on it, and probably has hundreds of messages that look nothing like postal mail or the messaging that existed in the late 90s. None of that could I have predicted. If you'd asked me if the internet had enough bandwidth in the year 2000, I would have said, yeah, it has plenty of bandwidth. Well, could I have imagined Netflix and on-demand video? That's ridiculous, right? Like, the cost of bandwidth is too high for that. But the internet drove the cost of bandwidth down to zero. And if the cost of payments go down to zero, the world is going to change. And I'm going to explain some of the ways that I think that's going to change and what that means.
Get ready for the Finternet, guys. And I believe that Ripple, XRP, is very positioned to actually enable that. They're kind of one of the furthest ahead on that kind of vision. Hang in there. You know, I've also said previously that I've never wanted a group of people so badly, other than the XRP holders, to win. You know, you guys have had to go through a lot of persecution. It's been very frustrating. It's been a disappointing investment thus far. I do think those tables will turn, and we'll keep you up to date with it here on the channel. So that's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this content as much as I enjoyed presenting it. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next one.